In the last episode, we began creating our base, we found ways to start raiding other bases, and, well, we kinda insided and started a world war of Hawaii, but that's in the past. What do we do to continue growing in power? And do we ever get closer to conquering Zeus Earth? Well, let's find out. So we kept on scouting other towns and bases, just to see what competition might look like. There were also little events such as a King of the Hill minigame to gather extra resources. We also found out that enchanted golden apples could be crafted thanks to the plugins, so that was pretty cool. It was time to keep growing our base and becoming more powerful, so we started testing out how to use the vehicles through the plugin. We could travel quickly by air through the plains, have access to firearms with the tanks, and drive quickly in race cars and flex on people, I guess. While we were testing out these things, Wildfire found his next place to take resources from and, well, just see for yourself.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Get it before it clears the floor.
He's so
Wait,
I don't have enough room.
As Wildfire continued to give us more and more loot, something strange happened.
Oh no, I dropped.
Okay.
Oh no!
This
Ground items. Wait, where did all of them go? It's one of the mods. They check around the area.
Wait, where? Wait, here?
Yeah, he's here right now. He accidentally picked up all our items, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll give it back."
Hey, so one of the mods knows what our plan. Epic.
So, we still don't really know who that was, but some admin or mod was watching our raid and accidentally picked up our items, so now we have an audience, I guess. Remember what I said earlier about how our villagers would become more useful later on? Well, we kind of found a way to make profit from just buying and selling items. There was this shop on the server created by the admins to buy lots of items at once that would normally be difficult to get by exploring. One of these items being melons. We found out that buying these melons would give us tons of profit if we traded with farming villagers. If one melon was $5, 9 melons made a block, and 4 melon blocks gave us 1 emerald, that would be paying 180 for 1 emerald worth 300. So that was already a good profit without actually doing anything. However, we could trade the emeralds for another item to get even more profit. At first we found out 1 emerald gave us $480 worth of pumpkin pie, but later we found out that 1 emerald gave us 500 worth of golden carrots. So by trading like this, we would pay 180 for every 4 melon blocks, and eventually sell it for 500, almost tripling the amount we made for the melons. We did have to wait for the villagers to restock, but it was still basically free money. In addition to this, we started remodeling the base to look a lot nicer now that we had so many different resources. By using drills that came with the vehicle plugin and haste beacons, we were able to clear out the inside of the mountain and make it look much better. We made the ceiling really high up to make it feel much more grand, and gave it a technological and somewhat modern kind of style. We now had rows and rows of villagers ready to be traded with for more and more profit, and Wildfire had continued looting and getting us all sorts of resources, including Elytra. I have a feeling that was a lot to take in, so here's a story kind of unrelated. While we were working on the base, Wildfire started making use of the Bounty Hunter plugin to start collecting people's player heads. Basically, if anyone wanted their head, Wildfire and some other people would set a bounty on them, kill them a few times to get several heads, and give each other their heads so they could collect them. One time while doing this, Wildfire accomplished something incredible. Guys, I did it. I finally out-pizzaed the hut. I'ma get you, Wild. Oh, that's it. I'm calling him Papa John's.
Is this Pizza Hut?
Yes, it is.
More like pizza butt.
Pizza Hut was absolutely furious of this, and began an execution to kill Wildfire, the person who thought he could out-pizza them. Okay, maybe I'm just exaggerating a little bit. What actually happened was that Wildfire became different pizza delivery guys and got killed by a helper nicked as Pizza Hut, just to add to their head collections.
It's Papa John's versus Pizza Hut. That's his real name, I promise. Let's get started.
Wait, before you kill me, let me say something. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
No! This is so sad. Every other pizza brand is being destroyed by Pizza Hut.
So yeah, anyway, this was the main way that Wildfire received heads to grow his collection. What does this have to do with conquering the world? Nothing, but hey, it was a great story, I guess. Back at the base, our remodeling was pretty much finished. We had a huge new chest system due to our large amount of raid loot. We made a giant pumpkin farm to trade with villagers for emeralds, and even an automatic pumpkin farm running as we worked on other things. To add on to all of this, Zeus announced that all towns and nations that didn't have people online for a while would be removed, leaving every inactive town open to raid. We went to these places to find that we were a little too late. Most of the places didn't have many valuable items left, so we just took what we could.
Imagine if a Hawaiian team just like went on a break for a while, then they come back and their place isn't claimed anymore.
However, there was still one big nation that hadn't been touched, and that was the town of Sydney, Australia. To our surprise, Sydney was unclaimed and didn't seem to be raided, with tons of resources and building blocks we could use back at our base. We also found some unclaimed areas in Russia where we got some diamond blocks and, well, more player heads for Wildfire's collection, which was actually starting to become pretty big. At this point, we pretty much had everything we needed and more, yet we still kept gathering resources. Now, you might be thinking, why would we need to keep getting more stuff? Shouldn't we be thinking about how to take over the world now? Well, that's exactly what we were doing. You see, back when Wildfire was kicked out of Hawaii, we realized who we were dealing with if we wanted to conquer the world. Although we were now much more powerful, there was no way the four of us would be able to take on the rest of the server if we potentially got into some kind of big war. So, we needed to start a nation. We needed an arsenal. We needed an army. But before we could do that, we need to get some more supplies. As we continued raiding, we looked out for more sets of diamond armor and weapons as well as other things that would be good for battle, such as potions. In fact, one of our earliest enemies, the Hawaiian Empire, had finally been disbanded due to some town members being banned and stuff like that, but either way, that was a huge piece of competition gone. When we raided the place, there were tons of vehicles left over for us to save for our army members, so that was a huge help. There were tons of rare resources to gather such as blaze rods and redstone equipment for expanding our automatic pumpkin farm. More armor, more tools, and more potions were added to our growing collection. But we weren't the only ones raiding Hawaii. A player killed me while I wasn't looking and took some of my loot, but all of the vehicles and important valuables were safe at our base. It was just good to know that there was competition still. After our raid, Wildfire actually claimed over Hawaii, and once again renamed it to the Hawaiian Empire. It was pretty funny that the person who incited and got kicked out of Hawaii eventually came back and claimed it all to themselves, but it's not like those people were gonna get back on anyway. After all, we all know that the leader of Hawaii, Exotic, he was actually a hardened criminal.
Hello, my dearest friend, Exotic. I would like to say this is an amazing setup you've got here. I didn't take any of your items or spawners, I just used them for XP. I found them while X-ray mining out in the ocean. Thanks for letting me use them. Your secret is safe with me, your dearest friend, Bub.
This is literally the most evil thing ever. Actually, we just found the book in the base. I have no idea what it's about. At the base, we were getting pumpkins constantly, giving us emeralds upon emeralds. We could sell this for money or continue gathering resources for battles, such as harming and poison arrows. People started to notice that we were probably hiding something since we've been quiet for most of our time on the server. So we decided to let people visit our base to seem less suspicious. We even met Kim Jong-un, disguised as a man named Big Chuck. So it was good that we were on good terms with such a powerful being. Jokes aside, the more people we met like this, the more sets of armor and tools we could save for the army. There was also this random event that the player Dynamic Fish was hosting. He wanted to do a fun little PvP match using only fists between people for a cash prize of $1 million, which later became $2 million. What was great about this is that, well, the only people who showed up were me, Skelezombie, and Wildfire. Somehow I guess he didn't realize we were all secretly part of the same nation, and decided to start it anyway. It was a powerful first battle between Wildfire and Skelezombie, with Wildfire taking the win. I then went in to challenge this winner and emerged victorious. Yeah, no matter who won that match, it was gonna go towards our nation bank anyway. We did some more raiding as more inactive towns began to lose their claims, but it seemed like we needed to stop doing this and prepare to truly attempt to conquer the world. If we wanted to stand a chance against the more powerful players on the server, We were going to need an army of players who haven't played on the server before. That way, we could trust them more since they wouldn't have anything to hide. Luckily, Wildfire just has this ability to gather tons of random people from all kinds of other communities. If he can just get into another nation just to inside them, and somehow be able to do the same thing over and over to other nations right after, yeah, he could gather anyone. Soon we had a Discord server full of players willing to join some random war that they knew almost nothing about. By the way, thanks to all of you who participated in this. We didn't make this public, and we didn't tell our new army what the server IP was because they could potentially join earlier and accidentally spoil our plans. Now, we had the possibility of creating an army to bring onto the server and help us conquer the entire world. However, at this point there was something to note. For a server that involves wars and things like that, there really weren't that many wars or tensions between anyone at the time. Plus, the player count was drastically decreasing as time went on, going from 20 to 30 people online at once to only a few. People either moved on because they had pretty much everything, or just got bored and wanted to do something else. Also, we were starting to get a little nervous because Zeus announced a new world map that would become the second map on the server, the 1 to 10 scale Earth. That deadline was coming up soon, and we needed to do something. So we made up a makeshift party. The idea was to have some party to gather everyone online and give a speech. We would then declare that we planned to have war against the entire world, and everyone would be really confused. Suddenly, an army of entirely new players would show up on the server, and we would begin our war plans. So the first thing we needed was the party, which was hosted on the new Hawaiian Empire where Wildfire was. Wildfire is having a party on the 1 to 1000 server at /T-Spawn Pearl Harbor this Thursday. He will be hosting it along with the Philippines for one big celebration before the new server is released. He says there will be some giveaways and everyone who arrives will get 10 free diamonds and $10,000 each. Ah yes, this was foolproof. Literally no one would say no because we were giving away cash money and it was genius. Yeah, they didn't come. Well, it wasn't no one who came, but it was only a few people. Yeah, so apparently creating a random party and giving away things that were basically worthless to longtime players of the server wouldn't get them online. Who would have thought? Before this, we even asked Zeus if it would be okay if we declared war on the server that day. To which he basically said, yeah, sure, it's allowed to do that, so I don't see why not. However, during the party, things were starting to fall apart. Not only was no one coming to the party, Zeus wasn't online to start the war, and we were asking admin to prepare to start one, to which they said, you're not allowed to do it without a valid reason. But our reason was perfectly justified. We just wanted to take over the entire world. Psh, what's wrong with that? Okay, so first of all, I do have to say that you can't really blame the admins. The concept of a few people wanting the ability to rule over the entire server is just asking for griefing and destruction. I do promise we didn't have any intention to ruin anyone's lives or destroy people's homes or bases that they worked really hard on. We just wanted to have some epic war between all the different nations so we could get the victory royale, absorb all of the clout that came with ruling the world, and then disband the nation and leave the server in peace. I guess the main thing that was annoying is that we had a bunch of people on Discord who were prepared to come onto the server for a battle, but wouldn't be able to in that day that we had planned it, but it was okay. Just because we didn't necessarily have everything work in our favor, that didn't mean we still couldn't aim for the top. It actually turned out to be a good idea that we didn't start a war that day because about half an hour later we started the supposed party. The server got hacked and had to shut down and roll back for a little bit. Also, since the new 1 to 10 server got released, people would start rejoining the original 1 to 1000 as well after the hype died down a little bit. With this new burst of hope, we began to prepare once again. Our automatic pumpkin farm was huge now, so in terms of money, we have tons of money now. We had lots of enchanted diamond armor with at least protection 3 and unbreaking 3.
So you might be thinking, wow, Flashy Pig, that's really cool. You got 8 sets of like prot 3 armor. Wrong, we got 27 more.
It was also time for Wildfire to get his giant dog army ready, known as the Army of John. Yes, there was a bunch of dogs who were named John in all sorts of different variations. It was a pretty glorious sight to behold. We got all the tools and weapons that each of our army members would need, and put them into a dispenser system so that everyone would get their gear as they joined their nation. But would we really be able to get all of these people online? And even though we couldn't officially declare war on everyone, would we still find a way to conquer the world, or would we get destroyed by all of the rich players still online? Well, when the final episode releases in a couple of days, or whenever it comes out, There's only one person who will be able to find out.
It's you!